In this video, we're going to look at what gender your voiceover should be. Voiceover used to be male-dominated, but if trends continue as they have been in the last few years, it's predicted that female voiceover jobs will actually overtake male voiceover jobs by around 2025. The received wisdom has always been to go with someone who sounds like the audience. Voiceover typically uses the rule of PLU. We most readily listen to people like us. And then we have quite stereotypical notions of what a male or female voice may offer. A deep male voice has power, aggression, and authority. And that's the reason why Mark Strong, the man who normally tells you to turn your phone off in the cinema in the UK, is also the man who fronts the UK COVID announcements.
This is a message from the government's chief medical officer about coronavirus.
By contrast, female voices are typically considered more reassuring and soothing. A poll conducted by Harris International found that 46% of people found female voices more soothing than male voices. Soothing voices make people more comfortable, and when people feel more comfortable, then they're more likely to trust the person that they're listening to. That's one of the very good reasons why many sat-navs, computer systems, and travel directions are delivered by female voices. Now, this is partly scientific. A study by the Journal of Advertising found that products that were aimed at neutral audiences or ones towards men, the gender of the voice didn't really matter, but the same certainly wasn't true for female-oriented products. Psychologist Phil McClear at the University of Glasgow found that male voices with a lower pitch were usually perceived as least trustworthy, while higher-pitched female voices were perceived as most trustworthy. Female voices are not just perceived as more melodic, but also clearer too by where they're processed in the brain. A study conducted at the University of Sheffield found that female voices were processed in the auditory part of the brain where music is processed, while male voices were processed at the back of the brain in what's called the mind's eye. So how does this all relate to the voiceover that you should choose? Well, Nancy Wolfson, one of the foremost voiceover coaches in the world in commercial copy, talks about how copy is generally structured in terms of align, escalate, and solve. The voiceover aligns themselves with the listener's problem, then they escalate it so the listener is compelled to act, and then you offer the solution with the product, taking the listener on an emotional journey throughout, from crisis to resolution. The female voice, seen as softer and chattier, most readily fits the align part of that equation. Women now drive between 70 and 80% of consumer spending, and the greater perceived emotional intent in their voices helps with that alignment. Demographics are also changing. We're seeing women make inroads, pardon the pun, in a traditionally male sphere like cars, with Mercedes,
the new A-Class range with Mercedes Me,
and Alfa Romeo.
Love is no longer blind. Alfa Romeo Giulia and Stelvio.
With 80% of car purchases now being directly influenced by women. Similarly, in entertainment, we're seeing the rise of female protagonists to mirror the fact that more women are getting involved in games as players and as developers as well. But the taste in male voices is also expanding and diversifying too. Often a male voice will simply suit a certain product best, and sometimes you need a Mark Strong to tell you to turn off your phone and wash your hands. But we're starting to explore a more three-dimensional concept of masculinity beyond the alpha male, one which possibly even started with the marketing towards stay-at-home dads. As copy tastes in many genres have moved from telling the audience to aligning with them, there are greater opportunities to explore emotional availability, vulnerability, and nurturing tones rather than just being strong and stoic. We're seeing advertisers take a voice which may be considered alpha, like for example Tom Hardy, and then disrupting that by making the delivery more ponderous and introspective than you would normally expect.
Greatness is no more unique to us than breathing. We're all capable of it. All of us.
You can't even say that makeup is still the preserve of female voices, when there's a whole new industry marketing makeup to young men. So, as media consumption continues to develop and change and diversify, it's more and more difficult to make any kind of blanket statements about the importance of the gender. The content we consume is becoming more targeted, more personalized, and less binary.
This is about more than just keeping a card safe. It's about keeping us safe. True Name by MasterCard.
There are more and more brands looking to use non-binary voices because it associates them with a more considerate and thoughtful approach to living and workplace culture. So in conclusion, surprise, there's no simple answer. Think about your product in terms of the wider industry and the target audience. Make the emotion that you want the listener to feel be of central importance. Always be aware of gender stereotypes so you can then play to them or subvert them. And remember that tone, pace and inflection are going to have the most influence over your voiceover's effectiveness, which is why you should hire a professional. Why not try demoing a variety of talent, not just going with what you think it should be, and then seeing what the results are like. I hope this video has been of interest to you, and thanks so much for joining me. Please do like, subscribe and turn on notifications, and I look forward to seeing you next time.